What were some of your beliefs and perceptions about Community Seva before you joined?
Born and raised in India, homelessness and poverty is not new. And my wish was for Community Seva to help these causes back home. However, I now realize that suffering, hunger, and most importantly, showing empathy has no boundaries. And there are countless people in the communities that we live in that need help and that we could serve. An opportunity to cook and serve a hungry person is a privilege. And it is our duty, dharma, to give back to the unhoused brothers and sisters in the communities that we live in for the country that has given us so much.
What are some of the needs of the unhoused population that specifically touched you?
Unhoused people have so many challenges every day. Having no place to call their home, or uncertain, not knowing when they can feed their child at least one meal daily is heartbreaking. During the pandemic, I learned that the restrooms were closed and were inaccessible by homeless. How inconvenient it would have been. It's really hard for me to digest that they are unable to use the restroom as needed or charge their phones to call their loved ones. It is then I realized how precarious their lives are, and that revelation changed me. Minor inconveniences never bother me anymore, and I am infused by a profound gratitude of everything I have.
You know, I recently met a homeless woman who was really unkempt and dirty and not clean. And I did not realize why she chose to be that way. But when I did, it really broke my heart, and I had an immense amount of sadness. And the reason she chose to be that way was because she did not want to be a prey to predators who might harm her. And I could not imagine having to make a choice between looking attractive and nice and clean versus having to protect myself against any harm that might come to me. And at that time, I realized that I could not judge anybody who's homeless for how they looked or how they even behaved, because there may be a lot more to the story than what meets my eye. And it really changed my perception of how I view them.
I've been leading the hot shower and laundry seva. The entire experience had been eye-opening and touching in so many ways. I remember once a man came in to stand in line to take the shower. So when his turn came up, we asked him to put his clothes in the laundry so he can step into the shower. But we were surprised to see that he started taking off his clothes right there in the street. And it so happens that he had only one set of clothes which he was wearing, and he didn't have any other clothes to launder. It was so heartbreaking and humbling to watch him do that. Another story which comes to mind is that during the shower, we do give them backpacks with hygiene products, socks and beanies and other essentials. So most of them would start refusing that, saying that we don't need it and please give it to somebody else. Even in those difficult circumstances, we see that they don't have that greed and the generous attitude. It really is touching.
Have you faced any challenges while volunteering? How did you face them, and how did you get over them?
Initially, when I was working with them or, cooking at the shelters, it was very difficult to understand a few of them. They were too loud, they were angry. I couldn't understand for the love of God what was happening, But it took a moment to understand that, I am operating not from my perspective, but from their perspective. Once the tide shifted, saying that, hey, wait a minute, they are there because, they've had an angry day. They're upset about something. Life is not going their way as it should, They would be angry too. They would be loud too, When that perspective kicked in, it was easier for me to understand, saying that, hey, they've had a lot of hardships, Your role here is only to cook, serve, and do the small thing that you could do for them to bring a smile on their face.
What did you hope to gain by volunteering at Community Seva? Did that materialize?
While growing up in India, I always watched my mom and dad. They were always involved in social service activities. This inspired my brother and me also to follow in their footsteps as we grew older. But about 25 years back, I moved to this country and somehow forgot all this, started living a very self-centered existence. But something good happened. About 7 years back, my husband started volunteering for Community Seva. He would come back from Sevas and then share heart-wrenching stories with my daughter and myself. And this motivated me also to get involved. It has been a completely fulfilling experience so far. On top of that, it has given my husband and me an opportunity to set an example to my daughter, to show her how important it is to give back to the community that we live in. Working with Community Seva has, not only given us a chance to help others, it has given us a purpose beyond ourselves, and also it has brought a lot of joy into our lives.